Stark State College Massage Therapy Lab Notes with Michael Vahila, licensed acupuncturist and licensed massage therapist. So on the back routine, we begin with lubricating the back with friction. So we'll do a straight friction stroke, come around to the side, do rotary friction, and then come back up with this transverse stroke. So we're going to do that about 3 times, straight down the back. As you come up along the sides in traction, around to the sides for rotary. And the whole purpose of this initial sequence of friction is just to evenly apply the lubricant and gently warm up the back and get them used to your touch. From here, we're going to go to palmar kneading, where you'll be treating the opposite side from where you're standing. So this is the spine. You're treating the erector spinae on the opposite side. So it's compress, compress, compress. So this is just palmar kneading. Go to the shoulder and then back down. Then you're going to do the same thing coming around to the other side. Compress. So notice, by definition, kneading does not slide. So I'm doing a little twist of the wrist, but this is not sliding. It's not press and slide. It's just compress and compress. Then we do some friction again. In the routine where it says friction, you have the option of doing just the straight friction stroke or the rotary. And then again, another form of palmar kneading where we are walking down the spine. The line of force is on the heel of the hand, walking down either side, glide out, slide back up, and again walk down. Now we're going to treat the erector spinae. This is this group of muscles along the side of the back. We're treating one side at a time, so you want to be very clear about where the spine is. This is the midline of the spine. We're using thumbs in a supported fashion, and you're going to do short strokes with deep friction, 3 per segment. So it's about a 2 or 3 inch segment. Do 3 strokes. The first one should be light, moderate, and firm. So even though it looks like it's exactly the same thing, you're working into the tissue in layers. So if you just think of it that way, light pressure or lighter pressure, moderate pressure, and then by that 3rd stroke, you can be using pretty firm pressure, and the tissue will be nicely warmed up. You're treating one side at a time, all the way down to the hips. And then as a transition from side to side, it's good to always do a friction stroke. And come back and treat the other side. Doesn't matter which side you do first. The erector spinae group has multiple origins and insertions along the spine. So we're just treating all of the fibers in a very general way. But at the end, you do want to end with the firmest pressure stroke. This is intended to work deeply into those muscles. So we're done with that. transitioning with friction stroke. And you can mix this up, sometimes do it with the other parts of the friction routine, other times just straight friction. Next is digital kneading. So we're going to make like a peace sign with the fingers. Here's the spine. We want one finger on either side of it. The hand supports on top, and we're going to go back and forth. Pressing down into the underlying bone, just back and forth a few times. And then shift down to the next segment. Okay, and then come back to the head of the table. And you're going to do friction again as a transition stroke. And next is nerve compression. So for this, we find the space between the vertebrae, move out about an inch, and then slowly sink down in and compress. Hold for just a moment, then find the next space between the vertebrae, slide down, and compress. Ideally, you want to do this with the breath. When they inhale, your hands are coming out, and on the exhale, you press down. This is a major part of a shiatsu-style massage routine. So, feeling for that space between the vertebrae, pressing down. As you start to move down, it's okay to move in a little closer to the table, away from the headrest. And this should be done slowly. Don't rapidly press down. Just sink into the tissue as they exhale. This stimulates all the spinal nerves, and Kellogg talks about it in a general way. As we discussed in acupuncture, the various spinal segments correspond to different viscera. You don't need to memorize those at this time, but just knowing that you're having a good systemic effect by treating all of the systems of the body, treating along the spine in this way. And so we're done with nerve compression. Do some friction. Continued in part 2, going to the shoulder.